Welcome back to the channel, guys. We've got less than 2 months before we are taking this with us to the Isle of Man TT, and we're in bits. Starting to feel the pressure a little bit, but we'll get it done. But on a more positive note, look what a fantastic job New Tech Powder Coating have done for us on these gearbox casings. They really have done a fantastic job. So if you're in the UK, they're in Leicester, I'm in Leicester, I'll drop a link to their website below. They powder coat everything, not just motorcycle parts. Go and speak to Andy over at New Tech Powder Coating, because at this moment in time I can't speak highly enough of them. So you guys saw it before when we stripped the gearbox down. So what they've done is they've vapor blasted everything, and then they've coated it in, or powder coated it I should say, and then it's got some form of additive, or I can't remember the wording now, they did tell me. So it's got that sort of mottled rough effect that matches the Harley engine casing. So it really has come out well, and I'm going to drop my primary drive cover off to them next and get all that done. So we had all the gearbox casings done, the mounting where it mounts to the engine, and then we've got the mount at the side as well. So let me show you firstly what else they've done for me, and secondly what we've got to get done today. And if you haven't hit subscribe, guys, hit that subscribe, like and comment buttons, all that good stuff. Hit all them for me. 77% of my viewers on my channel haven't hit the subscribe button. So if you could do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. It's completely free of charge and it'll really help me out. So let's have a look what else they've done for me. They've also done the rear swing arm for me in just plain satin black, and again it's come out really well, so that's all nice. Now what we've got to do today, guys, could do with something to keep that sitting level for a second. So what we've got to do today, guys, is we've got to mount the swing arm to the back of the gearbox. Now let me show you what I took out of the swing arm. So these are the bushes that come out of the swing arm. Now these are not the cheapest of bushes to find, and what I'm hearing through the grapevine is that they are a little bit of a bugger to refit, and the chances are I'm probably going to end up buying more than one kit to get it back in there. So I haven't gone down this route. There's another route I can go down, which is like a solid conversion kit. I think there's bearings in there, not sure. Check out TTA 850, my friend in the States, rebuilding exactly the same bike basically. He's just fitted some to his rear swing arm. Over here in the UK, that kit is nearly £400, and I just do not want to go down that route. So I came up with another way of doing it. Let me show you guys what I've come up with. I've ordered 4 bearings. Okay, so what we're going to do today is mount these bearings into the swing arm. Okay, through the middle is the swing arm spindle, as you guys know, through the gearbox, through the swing arm, through the frame, nut on each end. This hole in the middle is intentionally bigger than my swing arm spindle, because what I want to do is have a measure up, see how much clearance we've got between these two sections here, and then today we're going to machine up some spacers that will go through the swing arm and leave us with a nice shoulder on this side of the swing arm, so it all fits nice and neat. So putting a little bit of time into it, a little bit of material into it, 4 bearings which were not very expensive at all, and that was for the better quality ones. So a little bit of time of my time on the lathe, and I think that should hopefully save us a little bit of money as well. So let me show you one other thing about this gearbox, guys, which I'm excited to start doing. So some of my fittings for the oil pipes and breather pipes are still being held hostage by FedEx, but I've had some arrive. So these are AN6 fittings. This is a 1/8 MPT to a AN6 adapter, if you like. So instead of putting the horrible fittings back in here and then putting a push pipe back on it, which doesn't look great, and they were leaking and they were hard, and I want to try and neaten things up, we're going to put these adapters in here, and that will allow us to screw our AN6 fittings back over the top with some nice black braided hose that we can put some clamps on and make it look all nice and neat. Very much doubt you're going to see that in this video. That's probably for another week, guys, in the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping. So this is what we'll be using, guys, just some lumps of alley, and we're going to turn these down to make our spacers up. Right, so first things first, let's do a little bit of measury, shall we? Right, so we've got the very nears out. So the width for the gearbox is 119.5, and the width of our swing arm is 131. So we've got 131 minus 119.5 equals 11.5 divided by 2, 5.75 millimeters required either side to take up that gap. So what I'm going to do is turn up 2 pieces of alley. This is pretty much the correct diameter. We'll probably just dress it up a little bit on the end, and that's it. And then we'll take the rest of it down to fit the center of this bearing, if that makes sense. This is going to go through the bearings and leave a 5.75 millimeter shoulder that will sit between here and the swing arm. So let's pop that in the lathe and give it a go, shall we? We'll obviously have to drill a hole through the middle of it to put the spindle through as well in the end.
So we're going to start by facing the end off, guys. And it's probably at this point I should say I am no machinist, although I have a lathe and a milling machine. That doesn't make me a machinist. So apologies for anything you might see, that for all the pros that will make you cry. So I've just marked out the piece of material here roughly, and then I like to mark it with an actual score or cut so I can see where I've got to go to. And I've got to take this piece of material down to, I think it was about 20 mil or something like that through the middle of the bearings, if my memory serves me correctly. So what I ended up doing is changing that tool out for some tooling that was able to move some material a little bit quicker, so that I didn't spend the rest of my life machining this piece of material, which in the end took me about 2 hours to machine the bracket up, or the adapter in total. So yeah, as you can see here, definitely need a bigger piece of tooling to move some of that material a little bit quicker. So this is where it all normally goes nicely wrong for me, guys. I'm taking the final cut to get it down to dimension before we have a measure up and a test fit of the bearing over the top. At the minute, I haven't moved the material. The material was stayed at the same place in the 3-jaw chuck that I placed it. And I should probably add, although I didn't film it, I do try my best to dial the work into the chuck with my dial indicator each time. So hopefully the measurement comes out and the bearing fits. So now we're on with a little test fit of the bearing and a measure up, and the bearing fits absolutely lovely first time. So I was actually quite chuffed about that. I'm just going to double check my measurements as well. What I'm doing here is just facing off the internal face that's going to sit against the bearing and making sure that that is nice and square. And then I'm just going to centre drill it. Pop a little centre drill in there, so we got our centre, and then I'll hit it with an 8mm drill bit right the way through the middle, and then also a 12mm drill bit, because that's the biggest one I had to hand, and it is the quickest way to move material. But I do end up obviously having to finish it off with a boring bar. I think the internal diameter needed to be 16mm for the spindle shaft to go through. Sorry, the swing arm spindle to go through. So I spun the work, or I am spinning the work around in the 3-jaw chuck. I do try and think about my order of operations when I'm doing any kind of machining, just to make my life a little bit easier, but it doesn't always work out. Like I said, I'm learning on the job with this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and face off that end, and that's not necessarily for the job we're working on now, but the bit of material that I'm facing will be used on another job, I'm sure, at a later date, and that means I've got one square piece. So I'm just parting it off here. Sure, I should say Yahtzee or something, I think are the words I'm looking for. So that's it parted off there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and face that off so that that is nice and square as well. Just going to touch the edge off with a little file, make it look a little bit nicer. And now we can take it out. I'm just going to pop some soft copper jaws in there. These are homemade ones by myself, because I don't want to damage the material now, because we're getting down to final dimensions. So I don't want any nasty jaw marks in there. So now I've got that in there, guys, I'm just going to finish off the end with a file and give it a little bit of a clean up with some sandpaper as well. So there we go, just touching off on the end there, just to make sure that's nice. And don't try this at home, kids. This is a bad habit that I've got into. But I just use these soft pads just to clean it up, and it usually cleans Ali up really, really nicely while it's in the lathe. So I took it out and done a little trial fit in the swing arm, and it wasn't quite right, and it quickly dawned on me that the outside diameter of the largest diameter should be equivalent to the round diameter on the gearbox casing, which is 40mm. So I then had to take the outside down to exactly 40mm, which is what I'm doing now. Nice and simple, and everything went according to plan, and I didn't muck it up.
Right, let me show you where we're at. So this is the first one nearly done. So what I've done, guys, just off camera, I've just pushed one bearing in, nice and simple. So what we'll do now is we will pop another bearing in and show you where we are. So one of those. Camera's going to be in the way. So we've now got bearing on the outside, bearing on the inside, and the bit we've just made pops in there. Okay, you probably need to take a little bit off the outside there, I reckon. Although I might not do that yet, but what we do need to do is put the boring bar in the middle and open that hole out a bit more, because we've got to get the spindle in there. So let's do that, shall we? Right, ladies and gents, so I stuck the boring bar through, 16mm. So that now fits a treat. So as we saw earlier, where are you? Awkward to film. That in there, and then the spindle is going to come through like that. So that is going to work a treat, and then you get the idea. If I pop it on there, you can see when there's one the other side, it will be happy days. But slight problem. Even though I was going to make another one off camera so you don't have to watch me do it twice, I've run out of material. So Chris, if you're watching, it's got to be a bigger than 40mm diameter and longer than what have we got there? 60, longer than 65mm. If you could, please, buddy, that'd be fantastic. Oh, look at that. Using YouTube to put me material order in. This is where we find out he doesn't actually watch the videos. How embarrassing. So, while we're here, guys, and before I lose them, let me knock the bearings in the other side of the swing arm, and then we'll be all done there. And while we're in the mood for a bit of machining, there's something else that needs to be done that has been bugging me since pretty much the moment that we got the bike, and I've never been able to cure it. One. Damn it. That's gone through a bit far. They're in there, they're not going to get lost, and we can knock that back through a little bit when we've got a bit more material. So that with that and the spindle, that's kind of that bit sort of done now, apart from making another one of these, which I'll do off of camera when the material arrives. Right, let me show you what I want to do next. Next job for this video. This is the inner primary drive cover. You intelligent lot already know that. I want to get this away to be recoated so it looks all nice again. But this front gear lever, or gear linkage, sorry, has always flopped around like a donut in the Channel Tunnel. So I have tried. There's a a Bosch. There's a bush either end, and when I got it, the bushes were knackered. Somebody had shoved a load of O-rings in there to try and take the slack up. I've had numerous attempts, ordered pretty much every single bush that Harley Davidson have ever made for this. Never got anywhere. They've always been the correct external diameter with the wrong internal diameter, or vice versa. They've never quite fitted. I can't even remember what form of bodge I have in there at the moment to make it work, but I can assure you that there is probably a bodge in there. So this is my plan, is to take that out. I've got a new shaft here. Okay. Let's just check that's the right one first, shall we? Looks pretty good though. Yeah, so we've got a new shaft there, and I've got a lump of brass or bronze, or I think it's brass here. I'm going to make my own bushes up to take all the play out of this. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Let me get a copper mallet and see if I can knock that out. No, maybe it only goes one way. Okay, let's take the lever off. I've got to get some Imperial Allen key sockets. Keep saying it, haven't done it yet. One old shaft. Ew, that's not good. Right, to knock them out off camera, guys, because the discussion got a bit heated. So there's the old bushes that have come out. I think I knocked these ones in last year. I found some that just about did the job, but not quite. Even with a new shaft, there was still excessive play. And I want to put it right. And I'm just looking at this now, and this does look like, this is obviously aluminium, this inner primary drive. That does look like a steel insert has been pushed through there. And let me know in the comments, guys, are they all like that, or has somebody done that in an attempt to sort out the same problem that I'm attempting to sort out, if that makes sense? But I'm going to keep it in there. I'm going to make a couple of bronze bushes for it. So this bit of material looks like it's going to do the job a treat. So first of all, let's get the external diameter right, which is 13.5. Put it in the lathe, and let me get the external diameter right, and then we can get the internal diameter right. Bring you back in a minute, guys. Sometimes you just got to call time, guys. So I've now scrapped 4 of these, just off with the dimensions every time. I'm absolutely positive that somebody has knocked that steel sleeve in. Again, if you know, let me know in the comments, guys. I just can't get it right. This is the closest I've got, but it's not right. It needs to be a tighter fit there. I should be knocking that in, and then I want it to be absolutely bob on the shaft, and it's not. So I'm going to call time. I obviously need a sit down and chill out for a bit, and then come back and try again. That's what we do. We don't let it beat us. We just have another go. So I'm going to clean up all of this aluminium because I was up to me crown jewels in swarf. So I'm going to clean all this up, clean the tools back up, put the bikes away, go and have a sit down. See you guys next Sunday. We'll be back on the Harley then. Smash subscribe, smash like, drop us a comment. Massive thanks if you made it this far. And I'll see you guys next Saturday or Sunday. Who knows?